Luke 11:46. Woe unto you, ye lawyers, for ye lade men with burdens grievous to be borne, and you yourselves touch not the burdens with one of your fingers. Most citizens have family trees, including many ancestors who came to America before there were quotas on liberty. Thus, the burdens we impose today on immigrants were never touched by ourselves or by most of our own ancestors. This qualifies supporters of today's restrictions as lawyers by Jesus' reckoning. A little bit of history. Before the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, there was no such thing as a law limiting how many could come to America or from what nation. Ship captains were charged a head tax by some states intended to discourage ships from bringing paupers, or poor people, similar to our immigration laws, which require very poor people to pay many thousands of dollars in application fees and lawyers. This caused, back then, some ships to unload in other states. But even this restriction has no precedent in any biblical principle. Nowhere does the Bible exclude people because they are poor. James chapter 2, verses 1 through 9 condemns and ridicules such discrimination, especially coming from Christians who are relatively poor. Let's compare these verses with American law. Let's look at Exodus 12:49 that we've already looked at, Luke 11:46, this passage here, and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Now, here is that clause applied to immigrants of every legal status by the Supreme Court case Jean versus Nelson in 1985. The 14th Amendment prescribes that no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. In Plyler versus Doe, 1982, we made clear that this principle applies to aliens for, quote, whatever his status under the immigration laws, an alien is surely a person in any ordinary sense of that term. Let's compare this also with the phrase rule of law, coined in 1644 by Reverend Samuel Rutherford in his book Lex Rex, or The Law and the Prince. Rutherford contrasted Lex Rex, meaning the Latin phrase meaning the law is the king, with the previous principle sustaining the divine right of kings, Rex Lex, which is Lex Rex backwards. Rex Lex means the king is the law, instead of the law is the king. The essential difference is that under Lex Rex, or the rule of law, lawmakers, not even the king, are not exempt from the laws with which they burden others. All laws must apply equally to everybody. These laws would suggest that numerical limitations on how many applicants may be granted liberty are as unconstitutional as they are unbiblical. And that is the case made by a legal brief at tequilapartyonline.us/deportation-brief.pdf.